LTD, Mount Vernon Youth Bureau Strong Program.
So moved. Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Controller Reynolds.
Aye.
President Duarte.
Aye.
Mayor Wallace.
Aye.
Number 3, authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with the Westchester County Youth Bureau Gym Program.
So moved. Second.
On the question? Hearing none. Roll call?
Controller Reynolds.
Aye.
President Duarte.
Aye.
Mayor Wallace.
Aye.
Number 4, authorizing and directing the comptroller to establish a planning board consultant bank account.
So moved.
No, not right now. In the process.
Second.
Okay, you second
On the question?
it? Question?
I spoke to William Long. He indicated there was a private bank account. That bank account was closed. However, he indicated that there's no issue with the controller receiving the funds. They do have checks.
You're good with
My understanding is they do, and I'm not saying that they have the authority, but my understanding is the controller will accept checks from planning in terms of a bank account. That's my understanding.
Yes, and on the question, I'm not sure why the checks were delayed upstairs or why they were held. I need documentation to substantiate what the funding goes towards. So when they get that together, that's fine, I'll accept it. And we'll deposit it into the bank accounts because the comptroller is the only person that can open bank accounts and deposit money into a bank account. I cannot directly open bank accounts for various departments within City Hall. It just doesn't work like that. So, there's no checks and balances at that point. So
therefore, we could just...
that makes this null and void on number 4 because I wouldn't be able to do it if I could. It's illegal.
Okay, so she's being that she's going to accept the checks and do it that way and
I
take
have to
care
do
of
it
it.
that way. That's the only-
And this is on the question, Mr. Brown, should we just
think the,
vote it down as abstain?
I just want to say that the clerk also works in conjunctions with the comptroller when the city council authorizes escrow accounts for the purpose of a developer. And the controller generally takes those checks. He established the account. The developer will send the clerk a voucher. The clerk will send a voucher down to the comptroller to monitor the activity on the account, and the check is generally paid. That's the process that I've experienced as the clerk when the city council has established an escrow account. I believe you're talking about escrow accounts in this matter, and so I really can't see any reason why the process would be changed for a particular department for the same purpose that we've already established. And my understanding that escrow accounts still should be approved by the city council. If it's approved by the city council, the normal process of monitoring the account would come to the clerk's office,
Okay.
just for the record.
Yeah.
So number 4 is.
A question.
Yes.
Corporation Counsel, I guess this was past practice. Do you have any history or understanding as to why it was this way before?
I am not sure on why, but I talked to William Long, and he indicated if the controller accepts the checks, then there's no issue.
Okay.
Well, yeah, not only is the
But you
controller
need the
going-
backup also.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I just don't accept checks. They can be fraudulent checks. We have to make sure that we have the right documentation. That's why we have a comptroller, to check those things. But as far as a bank account, if it was past practice, it was incorrect. It's unethical behavior for a comptroller to open an account for various departments. It doesn't work like that. There has to be checks and balances. So I'm not sure what happened in the past, but it's not gonna happen today. We're gonna make sure that we are taking care of taxpayer dollars and making sure that everything is done correctly. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, so roll call.
You,
Well, it's on the, it's already second, so we moved it.
You
So we're
seconded
gonna,
it, so I
we'll
thought-
just vote it down.
All right, Controller Reynolds,
Absolutely not.
Council President Duarte,
I understand the reasoning, but the council did vote for it, so I.
You can vote for it and we'll still shoot it down, so you're in compliance.
I'm complying with my council. Our understanding was that this was needed, so we did vote for it, so I.
You voted aye.
aye?
Yes, I.
Okay, please, let me
Okay.
confirm it with the voter. And, Mayor Wallace,
No.
okay. Right, number 5, authorizing the, Mount Vernon Urban Renewal Agency to enter into the payment plan agreement with the New York State Department of Civil Service.
So moved.
Second. On the question?
On the question, this was a lawsuit that happened against the city and the comptroller's office in 2018. The Urban Renewal Agency, under the purview of Mayor Thomas, former Mayor Thomas, misappropriated funds. I don't know what he did. He didn't pay for the employees' health benefits. And this is the first time that he hasn't done it since he's been in office since 16. It is not in the purview of the taxpayers of Mount Vernon to pay the burden of money that was misappropriated and not, insurance is not paid for employees under the Urban Renewal Agency. So that is not what the city taxpayers do, and that's not what we budget for. Urban Renewal has their own employees, their own payroll, their own bank account. So there's no reason why they didn't take care of the health insurance for those employees for those years. But the case did go to court. I won the case. Therefore, the taxpayers did not have to bear the burden of taking care of their health benefits when it was never their responsibility in the first place. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Commissioner Morton?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know anything about it?
The only thing I don't know the specifics around this. I mean, as the treasurer of the URA, I will say this though, that there is I know nothing about any misappropriation. So I don't know whether something just wasn't paid or not, but
That's the same thing.
But that, no, actually it's not the same thing.
Well, it is. If you look
Because-
at the lawsuit, you'd say that I was, telling the truth. I mean, basically, when you're supposed to pay for people's health insurance, the mayor, under the purview of the Urban Renewal Agency, that's what he's supposed to do.
But I don't believe
And that's
that
not
this
what he
is-
did.
Mayor, I don't believe that this is just about employees that were under the URA.
No, it is.
Specifically, there's a number of issues that are going on around there, so I really will reserve any further comment on it other than to say that this is an ongoing issue that I do know of, and it predates me, so therefore, I think that, this has been exhausted and went to the council with all the information, so I don't know more. You'd have to really ask to the comptroller's point, you'd have to really ask the administrators of URA, any more specific, not the day-to-day. So I'm not gonna take that responsibility myself.
Well, I just want to read into the record, Section 1. It hereby authorizes the Mount Vernon Urban Renewal Agency or its authorized representatives to enter into a payment plan, which we don't do, as required by New York State Department of Civil Service. I'm not sure what they're talking about there. But it also says in Section 2, it hereby directs the comptroller to pay Mount Vernon Urban Renewal's past due health insurance bill in the amount of $248,000 from an account code Health and Dental. Basically, what happens is the city appropriates money for the city employees, not the Urban Renewal employees. That is a purview of the mayor to do because funding comes in from HUD that's supposed to be applied to Urban Renewal Agency employees' insurance. So I will say once again that he failed to do his job. He failed to cover the people under urban renewal for their health insurance. And as I state again, this went to court, I won the case, therefore the taxpayers of Mount Vernon, the city taxpayers don't have to bear the burden of something that should have been paid through HUD.
Is this, just a question, is this all during the time of former Mayor Richard Thomas's time? Or
Yes,
this
yes, sir.
This is during that
Yes,
time
sir.
period? Okay.
I don't believe so.
No, it is, I went to court.
I thought
yeah.
it was
This is-
more than
this
that.
is-
Mayor Davis
This-
took the initiative and he paid for the insurances for the people under the Urban Renewal Agency. Former Mayor Thomas did not. It's simple. So he has to go back, or Mayor Wallace, you have to go back and figure it out. Because, like I said, HUD funding comes through urban renewal. City funding comes through the city budget for me to take care of the city employees. So if you want to further discuss later, we can do that.
Now, we do recognize too that previously that the HUD did sell URA, at one point URA had too many employees that it was paying above its administrative allowances, right? And that predates actually
Correct.
Richard Thomas,
Okay.
right? And so.
That's a
I
too many
believe- so I
employees,
believe-
yes.
So I believe that this is a compilation of that across actually several administrations, which actually to be honest with you, may date back as far as Young. And I think that it came ahead under Thomas, which may have been no reaction to it. So, and as you know, that we've been spending a lot of time trying to clean up the financial operation of URA, all right? To try to get it to a place so that the comptroller is comfortable with the operation itself. And it's taken a very long time to do that, and so we are doing that. I just don't know the specifics. I don't have it. I don't have the backup here
Yeah,
to me.
but
to look
I
at.
know the specifics of the case that went to court, so that's what I'm just talking about today. I don't know like you said, if it predates way back, I don't know about the number of employees and what happened there, but I do know in this case,
And
we
some
went
of
to
this is
court.
about retirees. The reason why I
That
question
went to court as
some of
well.
this is about retirees, and there were no retirees under Thomas's administration. Retirees occurred under the previous.
That was
So
inclusive.
therefore, that's why I think that those employees also were included in this.
No,
amount.
that was inclusive in the court case as
Right.
well.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know if I can speak.
Yes, good.
The only thing I would suggest is that we're having a URA meeting on Thursday, I believe. I know it was set up by your office.
I think we're gonna have one today. It's supposed to be held
today?
after here.
Okay, they said it was, okay.
We're having a meeting
And maybe,
today?
Huh?
We're having a meeting
I think it was
today?
postponed.
It was
I don't know
postponed.
what the new time is, but I don't know.
Okay.
if it's
Well,
today.
we'll figure
okay,
that out
well, I'm
after.
just saying, we could make this as our executive session to really deal with this, because I wasn't aware of a court case.
Yes.
My department didn't indicate there was a court
Yeah,
case
the taxpayers
involving
didn't have to bear
URA.
that burden.
So I would like to see the court case, and maybe we can discuss it at length and make this a priority.
Yeah.
If it's on today.
Yeah, well,
And
we're
go ahead, Mayor.
gonna have to look into it because the controller is right about that. There's supposed to be a budget for the URA to pay these that comes out of the funds that HUD supplies. So they do give administrative fees, and they also include, I believe, the Friends benefits as well tied into that. That's supposed to be paid out of that administration cost. Which
For
is-
active, current.
Right, for
You should make it clear,
active,
though,
not for-
right?
not for
current active employees, URA, to the comptroller's point, active
Correct.
employees of URA are supposed to be paid by URA.
Correct,
Right?
correct.
The problem is,
I got the problem. The problem is that this has
Retirees.
gone past,
it's
this is
going
going
on,
way
and-
back.
And retirees.
That makes
So what
sense.
happens is that HUD will not pay for retirees.
Right.
So what was happening is that the city was paying for retirees. Now, some stuff has changed, so now that's the discussion as to what's happening, and it has accumulated, right?
Well, the city should not have been paying for the retirees. Like former Maureen Walker, Comptroller Maureen Walker, made the mistake. Well, I'll leave it as a mistake. I won't talk about misappropriations. She paid something she should not have, and the taxpayers bear the burden. And as we hear, we can talk about taxes continuing to go up. And there's reasons for this. When there's mistakes made, the taxpayers have to bear the burden. So this is what I'm trying to alleviate. And I just want to touch on the documents that were provided to O'Connor Davies so that URA can finally perform its audit for the years 16, 17, and 18. Hopefully we can divulge into 19 as well so that the city can get its bond rating back. And that would be a great day for Mount Vernon because we can get our infrastructure fixed. We can bond again with low interest rates. That's what we need to do. You know, we can't continue to keep putting out money at, you know, and make the taxpayers pay it. It's just too much money continuing to increase the taxes year after year. So, you know, I just wanted to talk about that.
The books are closed on that, so the audit has begun.
No.
And they are working on the actual water department now.
No,
getting that audit together.
Mayor, I just want to touch on that. The books were prepared. The audit has not yet been performed yet.
That's
so
what I said.
Okay.
The audit is the only thing that's being done that has to be finished throughout so we can get our rating back. So we got all of the other stuff established. This is just another problem from yesteryears that we have to deal with that is just thrown on us today. So nevertheless, we're gonna have to figure it out and see what we can do and figure out and identify where these retirees were really supposed to be paid from, which seems to be a little problem. So we'll figure it out, but she's right about that. We can't put it on the backs of the taxpayers. It should not. I'm looking at my vote as council, and I did not vote for it as council when this had came up before because my question was the same thing, same reasons. Why was it not paid through the URA, and what happened to the money? But that's going back previous administrations. So I can't answer that question. Nobody has given me answers, and this is the same thing coming up again. So I think we need to start to search for these answers and find out why it's been that way and what happened in the past that has dropped this problem in our laps today. But nevertheless, we have to fix it.
Well, we still have an obligation, so I understand that we inherited a problem and perhaps it was not done properly in the past, but the city still has an obligation to its employees and to the retirees.
Absolutely.
A lot of this is state mandated. It's not necessarily something that may be in our control. We may still be obligated to address this. So I know that this has been on the agenda for quite some time. So we can make this a priority in Corporation Council and really dig into this so we can get to it.
And once again, the city is not obligated to pay for urban renewal.
Okay.
And that's a fact.
So we're gonna have a meeting soon?
We will have a meeting after this meeting to get our hands wrapped around this whole situation. Because we're talking about this going back
Right.
Davis administration,
But that's why the
Young
lawsuit was
administration.
won, and that's why there
I
was
need
a
the
lawsuit.
We
So,
should-
we
Because
need to find
the council should have never voted for that.
Well,
It's not part of the
council was
city.
not aware of a lawsuit, so if there
Yes,
is a
you are.
lawsuit.
You should be aware of
We should
it.
have that information.
You should be aware of it because you were included with Mayor Thomas when he sued the city. The city council.
Well, we're not
So
gonna.
you should be aware.
We're not
I'm
gonna
just
go
putting
back.
that on the record. You should be aware.
We're not gonna go backwards into that administration, but we're gonna look into all the administrations in the past and find out what went wrong and how this happened. So we'll figure that out so that we can be responsible to make sure that people that have retired, that's supposed to get health care,
Through
gets
urban
their
renewal.
health care. So we just gotta figure that out. We will figure it out and we will fix it. So, should we or can we hold this at this particular time because we moved it? Okay, so we'll,
Didn't we vote?
We
No, we
didn't vote
voted
on
on 4.
no, we didn't vote this
Voted
one.
down for.
You can move.
You did not vote. It's moved and second. You seconded.
Huh?
Somebody can move to
We can-
table.
I
Somebody
move to
can move
table it.
postpone
Yeah, we're gonna move to table this.
I
Yeah.
move to postpone this resolution.
Yeah.
Resolution number 5.
I understand. This is after the fact, though. He already moved in second to vote on this thing.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion to rescind the motion?
Yeah.
Clerk Brown, can I just ask a question though? From a parliamentary procedure standpoint, you're right. There is a motion that's on the table,
Right.
right? But there's a subsequent motion that can come from any member of this board. A move to postpone supersedes the previous motion. It'll knock the original motion off the table.
What is the purpose of the postponement?
So that we can have meetings, get our hand, everybody needs to get their hands in this and really
I
dig
need to
down
make
in
them
it.
aware of the lawsuit.
So we need to
So they
find out
can
that.
have more information on what's happening
information that
here
we-
and
we
what
need to
urban
exchange
renewal is
information.
responsible for.
So I don't know if it's postponement, you wanna withdraw your motion.
Withdraw it. Withdraw the motion for now. But you can postpone it, but whichever
Okay, so
way
from
you
a
choose
par-
to do it.
So from a parliamentary procedure,
Right.
if we postpone, the item is still, the resolution is still
If you
active.
if you withdraw it, it's as if the motion wasn't even made.
Either,
Okay?
either
And-
or,
and
whichever
and
way.
consequently, then, does it still remain as an active resolution for
Absolutely.
future consideration?
It's not gonna be considered in the
That's
future.
the best way, really, is just hold it. But it's
Okay.
already,
URA
That's why I said withdraw.
has to take responsibility
well, we got
and to
that.
pay their part in regards to HUD funding to URA workers. That's what their job is.
Yeah. So what we'll do is
I
we'll,
move to withdraw the motion, since I moved it.
Second?
roll call. On,
Motion to withdraw.
yeah, motion to withdraw.
Controller Reynolds,
Yes, motion to withdraw.
Acting President Duarte,
Aye.
Acting Mayor Wallace.
Yes.
And now is the desire to hold it for the record, right, on the floor?
Well, it's already on the
No.
floor, it's not addressed. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's not.
So now should
Yes.
on the record, shouldn't they say this item is held, so it comes back?
No, it should not come back. It doesn't belong at this meeting. It belongs in the Urban Renewal Agency.
Until we get all the information we need and review, I ask that we hold this item.
It's still the property of this body.
Yeah.
It's
But it
not
doesn't
go-
matter,
It's not going
City
anywhere,
Clerk.
it's still the property of this body.
It's already a lawsuit. It's already been won. We keep rehashing the same old mistake. They have to be up to date on what Urban Renewal's responsibilities are, and that's what we're
Okay,
gonna discuss.
So procedurally, this was a piece of legislation, it was an ordinance adopted by the council, it has come before the Board of Estimate, and I ask that we hold this item
It's
until
held.
we determine.
It's already withdrawn.
Settlements,
And the settlements, settling the claim of Hawthorne Management LLC, the amount of $10,000.
So moved.
second. On the question?
On the
Roll
question,
call.
Corporation Council, have you had a chance to review this?
Yes, I have. There's a history here. Notice, should I talk about it now? Is this appropriate for a lawsuit?
Well, but you feel, as a corporation counsel, you feel that items that need to be discussed in executive session, that's what we would have to do. It is a lawsuit. Generally, if it's just
It
common
was a
information.
settlement.
Settlement,
I
legal.
agree with the settlement.
Thank
If-
you.
If I can't talk about the facts, I agree with the settlement based on all the paperwork I reviewed. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
This was a settlement that was back in June,
Yes,
prior to the new Corporation Council, so you've had an opportunity to review the documentation,
Yes.
the settlement, and you concur with the recommendation to settle?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
Controller Reynolds,
Aye?
President Duarte,
Aye.
Mayor Wallace.
Aye.
Number 7, setting the rates for Ingrid Albert Esquire, matters in which the city is a party.
So moved.
Second. On the question?
On the question, I'm not familiar with this firm, but that's not really my concern at the moment. The council has not yet been updated on the legal status of the status of the law department and many of the outstanding legal liabilities that we have. And so, you know, I've requested before and I ask again for the council to have some idea, or at least, even if it's big picture, some idea of what the needs are.
So
And what this attorney would be working on.
Corporate counsel, can you set time with the council president so that you guys can sit down and let her know everything about this?
Absolutely, yes. Here's the only issue. We're in the process, it's happening over the week. I'm talking to all corporation councils and giving us update. That takes time.
Okay.
Because they're providing all the cases that are involved and we're getting numbers as to how much we spend in prior lawsuits. So I'm saying it's taking time because the list we have is not it's not an updated list. So I just wanted to put that there. With regard to Ingrid Alford, she used to work here. If I have that form to say that, Ingrid Alford used to work here as the 4th or 5th assistant. She has worked in the law department. She's right down the block at 11 West Prospect or 9 West Prospect, so she's close by. She has done this work before. We don't know if we're going to be able to use her. If we don't need her, we're not going to use her, but at least we have another option just in case there's something else that we may have to give to an outside counsel. She's just another option. That's all.
So,
Okay.
on the question, I don't see any funding set aside for this individual, and I don't know what her main focus would be to work in the law department, but,
Okay, to answer that, she's only outside counsel like the other outside counsel, so she's not gonna work in the law department. If we need to have an additional outside counsel, she would just be another person who was available, subject to money in a budget to pay her. So we're not gonna retain her if we don't have any money, but at least she's on a list.
Right.
yeah, we don't have any funding, so I just, you know, have to make
Well,
sure that's, you know, on the record, that
right.
there is no funding right now for someone else to come to the table. So, you know, I guess when we,
If we ever get funding.
if we ever get funding, you know, but I can't vote in my, you know, I can't vote for someone with no money in the line.
But she's just so for example, if the mayor transfers money over or something like that,
If.
might be an option. She's just a third option because there are other lawyers that were approved a couple of months ago or whatever. She's just an option. If we don't have any money, she's not gonna be utilized.
So, you know, it's not contingent. I mean, basically, for me to vote for something like this, there has to be money set aside in a line so that we know we're indeed going to pay someone out. I can't vote for someone based on maybe, because then the city is liable for lawsuits if she's not paid. And so
But she's
Well, she's.
I don't want to be responsible for that, because if she is working and there's no money there, I can't pay her. So I don't, you know, we
she's
can't
not-
vote for something like this without funding being in line. If, when Mayor Wallace decides to put money in that line, and there's indeed funding in that account code within my department, then maybe we can vote for someone else to come in. But until that is done, in good conscience, and even the right thing to do is to say no, because there's no money there.
Well,
There was a special Board of Estimate meeting held last month where 2 law firms were retained. Was there money in the budget then?
For those guys, yes, it was.
And that money has not been exhausted?
No, not for those two, and we
They're
have set
being paid out
aside,
of
because
it?
those particular lawyers are working on our EPA problem that we have. And we have a substantial lawsuit in front of us from the government, from USA government, because of the illegal dumping that took place in our sewers. So we have an attorney there. And so we have to make sure we appropriate taxpayer funding correctly. We also have a lawsuit, as you're aware, of Keeler Tennis for the bubble being torn down. That's another problem. We have a lot of lawsuits right now that the city is currently facing. So to have someone, we don't know what they're going to do right now with no funding transferred from the budget is no. Until that is done, we're sitting on nothing. So I can't pay this person out. It's simple. Once Mayor Wallace decides on when he's going to move money, we can come back to the table. Next Board of Estimate and Contract meeting. And if there's money there, then we can vote. But until then,
Okay, the reason why, and I get it, we have to have these people on standby because we know we're going into this real estate problem with certain things and
Real
the
estate.
issues and things that she handles. So bottom line is, we don't have to have the money ready. You have to still pass the legislation for the people to get them ready. We will transfer the money when we need to hire them,
Mayor
but it's
Wallace?
just including
It doesn't
them
work
into.
like that. Legislation, and I'm not even gonna argue
No,
about
I'm
this
not gonna
today.
argue.
We will talk offline.
Yes. Roll call.
Roll call on number 7. Control Reynolds?
No, because there's no money set aside in the budget to fund this additional labor council. And I just want to say, right now, we have 4 labor councils that are working for the city of Mount Vernon. So with no money in the line, we can't pay this individual. The taxpayers cannot bear the burden, once again, of the high taxes or any other frivolous lawsuits.
I think.
Okay, hold on.
We're in the middle of it.
Acting President Duarte,
Abstain.
and you've already indicated that the purpose of your abstention.
The council would like to have an update with regards to this situation. We know it's a request that goes back some time, and the council's never been updated, inclusive of, from the comptroller's office, a report on how much we have spent on legal fees would be helpful.
Mayor Wallace?
Yes.
That exhausts the agenda for this morning.
Thank you, Mayor Wallace.
Okay.
Just
Hold on. Hold on. I'll take a motion to, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
He entertained it.
Yeah, I
So
can.
moved.
Somebody gotta move it.
So moved.
Second by Councilman, by
Okay.
Controller Reynolds.
Roll
Okay,
call.
Roll call on the adjournment. Controller Reynolds,
Yes?
and President Duarte,
Aye.
and Mayor Wallace.
Aye. This meeting is now adjourned.